Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and we have been talking about artificial intelligence, but it requires even extensive conversations as there has been some executive orders which were signed by President Donald J. Trump to encourage the growth of AI and make it happen in such a way that America continues to lead as it has led in the field of technology. Where is America in terms of its influence on AI, and what is it that is needed for the continued growth of America? We will talk about that, as well as how AI is impacting the global world order in the context of the new approach with which America first is making its impact felt for students and professionals who want to come to America. But let me have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Dheeraj Kaul ji. Namaste. So you feel that artificial intelligence is disruptive. Do you see it has some political ramifications also, not for one nation but for the global world order?
Namaskar. Thank you for having me on the show. So nice that you're touching a topic which is very important at the same time, would help a lot of future students as well as people who are looking into job sectors. Very informative topic you have picked. So I congratulate you on that. Lekin, the question you're asking, I guess everybody understands the importance of AI. If you listen to Sundar Pichai or any top executives of tech companies, they anticipate that this AI revolution will be way more than internet revolution itself, and we are just in the initial phases of it. So you name it. We recently had a big podcast in India where I spoke about it, how disruptive it is. But just to recap, like you already know, it's
Hmm.
very disruptive. For example, call centers and customer support system. Most of it is getting replaced by 2026. It's anticipated around 90% of workforce will be replaced by AI bot.
Hmm.
Why? Because when you call a customer service, including you, me, it's sometimes very frustrating experience. You have to hold on. One person cannot answer everything. He has to look into, then he has to talk to his supervisor, and so on and so forth. With AI bot, one man show. He has all the data. He's the supervisor. He has everything. Whatever clause he has, he can work with you. And it's with machine learning, so very improving. So that sector is dying. So everybody knows about it. The other issue is, entry level white collar jobs, people who are graduating colleges, for example, data entry, for example, basic consultancy or basic research in different fields, including financial sectors in which you have, consultants and basic researchers or any financial teams. So those fields will be done much better by AI, although advanced computing or advanced comprehension will be done by a human so far.
Yeah,
So AI.
let me just, I'm tempted to kind of mention this. You are a doctor yourself, and I keep hearing from many people that the diagnosis based on the data that a doctor has in his mind is also in competition with the way AI is performing. And some people shared when they asked their expert the kind of information which they could get as compared to what the chat GPT would give them. I know I'm not questioning the importance of medical fraternity, but I'm just saying that how disruptive it has already become in terms of its potential reach, that may also reflect in the relationship of a doctor and a patient, which appears like a high sci-fi movie.
Absolutely. I mean, you are not wrong in mentioning this because, see, I am a student of AI. I am been involved and I've been studying AI in healthcare sector. There are so many good companies which are working on it, including Microsoft. You would be shocked. Cisco, DeepMind of Google. Now Nvidia is looking into healthcare. Then Viz AI. Then Tempest. So there are companies which basically, just to recap, as you have been to a doctor, what do we do in medical? I actually give professional lectures on AI healthcare integration. So I'll just recap in 2 minutes. You come to the doctor, we have to see data points. So where are those data points? That's information from past, which is stored in the software. And we have to scroll through the software, as you know, 30 minutes for a follow-up new consult, say 45 minutes. In that amount of time, around 30 to 40% of my time with a patient goes in extracting data from the software, put organizing the data the right way, and then I have to think and make decisions. So stage one, pulling the data, organizing, is stage two. That is much better done by a machine. So that frees up 30% of your time, which you can talk to the patient more, because you have to connect with the patient. That's what is lacking nowadays
Hmm.
because of pressure. Patients have become a number game. You have to see X, say 20, 25 patients a day. Think about 30% of your time is free. You can talk to the patient. Are you taking this medicine? Is there any stress at home? For example, how's your lifestyle? These things are very integrated. As a doctor, you have to heal somebody. You're not there only to prescribe a medicine. So that connection somewhere, we physicians and my community people are feeling it's missing, and so much work needs to be done. So AI in healthcare is an excellent tool to free up that time. But having said that, what industry is doing, they are hiring AI, but they want you to see more patients. So it's a catch 22, and there will be a struggle eventually. But you are absolutely right. Healthcare के अंदर बहुत सारी, there are so many companies which are assessing data, including CT scan. There is radiology company which is looking into radiology. There is a company called Tempus which looks into your genomic makeup. I mean, this is a topic of my interest. I can talk long, but to
Yeah.
summarize, yes, it is being used and very disruptive in a positive way in healthcare.
Okay, now let's switch gears and look at the focus with which President Trump addressed AI summit or innovative summit, and he mentioned many things. One of them, which I seek your insight on, relates to deregulation. So he feels even if there is some state which has more regulatory policy, then there'll be some tug of war in terms of what support they get, resources they get from the federal government, etc. Which means he wants to make it sure that it is deregulated and it has enough of space for the industry to grow. Question for you: do you think deregulation plays a significant role, and then once they start performing, the question would come: if there is no control, then government will feel left out, and in some cases that may involve crime, that may involve terror activities. Government would like in India, you must have seen the tug of war between social media giants and Indian government, with reference to WhatsApp, asking, mentioning that due to the privacy of their consumers, they won't part with the uh, details that government was seeking. So now AI would take it to another level. How do you envision that in the context of the current emphasis of President Trump?
Yeah, I think your concerns are very, very valid and smart. Matter of fact, if you look at AI development, most of it which common man is seeing is after COVID. But I've been a student of it from 2017 onwards, so I followed this extremely closely. And if you go back in 2019, 18, during COVID till 2021, 22, a lot of leaders in the tech sector were warning the government that AI needs clear regulation because it cannot be free for all. There is such a high risk of, if you know, cyber crimes. If you know people, we have companies like Sound AI and other companies which can mimic your sound, your voice, and understand your behavior pattern and be able to answer those questions which may be asked, as long as they have data. So a lot of people will be attacked by, cyber attacks would be there, which is happening already. It's around 35% up this year in comparison to 2022. It is very, very concerning. On top of that, can AI go rogue? Because there is a machine learning component of it. So that's very, very concerning, and there has to be regulation. So far, it doesn't look like there are applications for that, but looks like there has to be a very strong regulation. The other issue, just to touch base, is human assistant, which is can be robot. So you are trying to get AI, robotic AI, so personal assistants in the house with the robot and AI integration. Can that go rogue? That's another question which a lot of people are saying. As you know, Tesla is launching $20,000 robot by the end of next year with subscription plan. But coming back to your question, I think it is one of the biggest challenge of this decade. How do we have AI applications which are safe, which are a tool in a human hand, but don't overtake us? That's a concern everywhere. And how do you secure the data? That's the second thing. So you're seeing cybersecurity companies are going big time. No.
Let me just sort of take a flight of connecting how human learning and parallel to what AI learning is. AI can absorb tons of data quickly. It will imitate how Dheeraj thinks by finding the pattern of
Correct.
his expressions and written material or whatever. So the pace at which AI is growing, and in our case, we have a term in India called sanskaras or impressions, with which you raise, like you yourself are experiencing when you raise a child, you're teaching him certain things. But again, so human child will have its limitation in terms of exposure, either family or whatever surrounding, and uh, but AI, it is phenomenal. So I'm kind of on one level seeing the possibility that it will cause a lot of inferiority complex in many human beings. It must have already, because you, if you write an article, it takes like 4 hours, and yet you are not very happy. And here it is in 30 seconds producing it. So, I mean, it's very, very, very interesting. And as you have rightly mentioned, it's a disruption on multiple levels. Let me come back to you with the way it is affecting job situation, and then combine it with the new policies where uh, Trump administration is discouraging the inflow of H1Bs, etc. How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, that's a very important question you have asked. I'll just start with the H1B since you touched it at the end. Total H1B are around 85,000, right? And out of that 85,000, around 80% are held as of 2024 by Indians. So Indian origin people will be affected big time. And out of that, if you look at the employers of H1B, Amazon has 9.3 thousand. Infosys is the second, which is an Indian company, 8.1 thousand, followed by Google, which is 5.4. Now, if you look at what is happening to the employability, Microsoft, which is one of the biggest employers of tech sector, hired 30% less last year for initial coding, as in 30% of their coding work now is being overtaken by AI. That growth has happened exponentially in last 2 years. So it is very challenging, not only for Indian, anybody who's graduating here, you have to have advanced skill set. Basic coding is not a skill set anymore needed. There
Yeah.
are certain skill sets which you need to. A matter of fact, there is a lot of pressure, like we were talking off here, on academia to train students to have those skill sets which is required for World 2.0, which is currently not being taught in colleges, which are very expensive. So there is a strong push, and as you know, with the political policies, lot of funding of the colleges have gone away. 30% of financial help which an institution gets comes from foreign students, and they are highly discouraged now to come to US. So institutions are struggling how to run good quality education in themselves. The other problem is the subjects and the depth of what you need to be taught has to be revamped, because you can't overburden somebody with so many credits, so many topics which are not utilized in their real life. Industry wants you to teach what is required in real life, what will be, because you will free up the space and people can actually think out of the box. You need innovator, you need curious people, you need to innovate curiosity. I have been in teaching for last 15 years approximately, different level of medical students, fellows, residents, nursing. So one of the hardest thing to inculcate in somebody is curiosity. You can learn something and see how is our exam system differentiating two students. They are looking into ability of you getting a lot of data and regurgitating. That is not needed, that will be taken away from AI. What is needed is curiosity, how you can think out of the box, how innovative you are, and how sensitive and emotional you are is a very big plus right now, because machine learning and AI doesn't have emotional intelligence yet. They are working towards it. That's one of the big things which is missing. So my request and humble to anybody who's a parent or who are children, please look into the industry, what they are looking for, what talents, instead of just getting a associate or bachelor's or master's degree, because AI is going to disrupt, like you rightly said, at different levels across the industry, including
Yeah.
healthcare,
So, yeah,
defense.
let us connect with President Trump. Part of his speech where he especially talks about AI and the position that America has as leader in this field. Let's hear.
Place anywhere on earth. America is the country that started the AI race. And as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard. We're going to win it. Because we will not allow any foreign nation to beat us. Our children will not live on a planet controlled by the algorithms, the adversaries advancing values and interests contrary to our own. We don't want to have contrary interests. We want to get along, and we'll get along with other countries. We're having a great relationship, as I told you, with those countries that we mentioned, with Japan and Indonesia and so many others. The European Union, we're getting along. We're getting along very well with China. A lot of respect for President Xi. We have a great relationship, and we'll see how it all works out. But we're getting along with countries it's really been pretty amazing, I will say that, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. So from this day forward, it'll be a policy of the United States to do whatever it takes to lead the world in artificial intelligence, such an important thing happening. This is really something that nobody expected. It just popped out of the air, and here we are. But we will defend our nation, our values, our future, and our freedom, and it will be really great.
So it will be really great. And on that note, when we come back and hear his vision, and I think the spirit of sustaining America's leadership on the technological arena or orbit, it is inspiring. But then again, as he mentioned about deregulation, and as we were earlier discussing, the sort of restricted entry of the foreign talent, it it it, it kind of it may have some or may not have adequate sort of break on the speed at which we have to grow, because you and me and everybody knows that most of the tech giants have their leading men coming from nations like India. So how we will see that. But let me also bring a few more points, if you may allow me. And he talked about advanced chip design, leading frontier AI models, and the financial and research capacity to scale innovation. uh, let's focus on the leading frontier AI model. So at this point, I think America is the leader, and there were people who were anticipating that this will come, but it came suddenly for most of us. Actually, AI revolution. So talk to me about, uh, is there any major competition? Because let's be honest about it. In India, what we have, the talent is learning, understanding, making use of AI, but the platform is provided by mostly American companies. And if that continues to be so, then what vision President Trump has shared, I think it will be realized, and it will be number one that way. How do you see this scenario?
I think it's a very important crossroads right now between the growth. President Trump is absolutely right on the fact that whoever wins the AI race is the next 20-year leap. So, as a president, he's watching out for the best interest of the country, which any president should do. So, it's commendable. The other thing is you have to understand why he took off the restrictions, because China was very close, is very close now in the AI race to US. If you talk about different industries, for example, robotics, China is neck to neck right now. If you talk about autonomous driving, little behind, but it will catch up in a year or two. If you talk about SaaS platforms, China is very close. So there are so many companies. People know about Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent. These are all now transforming into AI companies, and they are hundreds of billion-dollar companies, very big. And the government is backing them like anything. Chinese government, as you know, they have a lot of cash flow. So you really have to, your competition is against a communist country. So if you start asking for approvals, copyright, that's what he was talking about, you will never be able to develop anything. And I think he's right on that side. But again, there has to be like a watchdog to make sure, like he also mentioned, we don't want any algorithms to take us over. So I'm sure they will be thinking about some organizations and some watchdogs which will keep a tab on how it doesn't become like out of control. So that's a concern with everybody. But it's a very positive disruption. It's an excellent tool. You name it, in education sector, for example. There are schools which can teach you 8-hour curriculum. There's happening in California in 2 hours with a personalized AI tutor you have, and the teacher is like a guide sitting there. So there are excellent examples. If you talk about like small things like delivery systems, like robot taxis coming, then you have travel, then you have financial planners. Look at paralegals. What do paralegals do? Think about it. They will just look into the data source of laws and see where you fit. AI bot is easily replacing those, eventually even legal advice. So it's a very positive thing, but at the same time, we have to be careful that it doesn't
Yeah,
become.
it's like you go to another country, and as a visitor, you have the curiosity to understand, say, language or their customs, etc. So the whole world is in the process of makeshift. So you are in your own house, you will feel that you have come to a strange world. That's what is happening. And let me request you to explain for our viewers what is the generative AI as such. And President Trump also talked about leadership of America in the generative AI system development. Yeah.
Mhm. So basically, first things first. First, I would like to point out, you just mentioned when somebody is traveling in a different country. So currently, we have AI algorithms and AI applications which can immediately translate anything you are listening or talking in any language you want. So that already exists. Now, Google is coming out with a different glasses which can actually scan your surroundings, tell you exactly what kind of food you're eating, what kind of plant this is, what airlines this is. You can look into a person and go, if his you can look into his, it will integrate his Facebook, his data online will be integrated, and a pattern will be represented in front of you. For example, a guy likes skydiving, and you are a skydiving enthusiast, and you can screen who likes skydiving in the entire 100 people. It will connect you with that, your common interests, your what you are looking for example, AI will be able to understand this is your lunchtime and you're looking for the best sushi around it, cost efficient. It can order it for you, it will bring it, or it will help you guide. So travelers, it's a very big plus. Now you asked me about generative I'm sorry, I didn't get your.
That is exact word is generative AI uh,
Correct.
system. Yeah.
So like if you go into the AI, so generative AI can create basically text, images, videos, audio, code, by humans. It's basically goes into the learning patterns and structures from massive database. So you have a lot of database. It will create like patterns like you were initially describing, and it has deep learning models like neural networks, which I don't think we should go in detail. It may be a little complicated, but generative AI model will go through vast content of data. What kind of data? Like your text message, your images, your audio recording, your locations, what kind of say on a Saturday, what you like to do, what was your, if you are wearing a watch which is a sensor, it can tell you based on your parameters, body parameters, whether you were relaxed or you were anxious, whether an activity makes you happy or relaxed, whether an activity which you are doing is burning enough amount of calories you are anticipating or not, whether you need to go up on it, what the food you are eating, is it healthy for you in your current health conditions or not. By the glasses it can look into it. So these patterns can be recognized, and then it can replicate those characters. For example, I can give you an example. For example, you are seeing a patient in a clinic, and that patient is basically having diabetes, hypertension, comes to you, and he has a pattern of missing his visits or a pattern of not taking his medications on time. It can predict that, and it will tell you how to how not to get in a situation like that, what parameters you should follow that the patient's outcomes are improved. Same thing with errors in healthcare. We are humans, we can miss certain things. So if a patient comes to a clinic and he has one health condition and you overlooked it, it will trigger a response to your data system that you need to look into his arthritis also, or the medication you're prescribing will interact with his liver in a wrong way. His liver is not doing very well based on the latest labs, which you may not have seen.
Yeah.
So these patrons can actually pick up and understand how you respond in different situations, and make decisions for you depending on how much leverage you are providing to the software. So in layman term, it's your personal assistant who understands you way better than anybody around you. Not talking about emotional intelligence yet, but your decision making, because every decision you're making is going through an algorithm. If I offer you two sweets, one is gulab jamun, one is rasgulla, you are tend more towards rasgulla. If I take rasgulla further, you are going into a soft ball rasgulla versus a medium rasgulla. So it will decide that patterns and link into it.
On that sweet note, actually, we'll have to conclude conclude with you mentioned about Rasgulla, and there's chances of many water. हिंदी में मजा आता है कहने में, मुंह में पानी ले आए आप तो रसगुल्ले की बात करके। मगर एआई जो है वो भी एक तरह से जिंदगी को और अधिक सुंदर और स्वादिष्ट बना सकता है,
Correct.
provided we are alert and
Yes.
proactive in absorbing और learning कि कैसे उसको अपने लाइफस्टाइल में हम उसको इनकॉर्पोरेट कर सकते हैं। एंड सेम अप्लाइज चाहे लर्निंग की बात है या जॉब रिलेटेड है, तो we will have to switch and be willing to shift our position in order to cope up with the available resources. But all said and done, as you mentioned earlier, एक ऐसा giant tool हमारे सामने हमारी जेब में आ गया है जिसका उपयोग जितना अधिक जल्दी हम करना सीख जाएंगे, it'll add to the quality of life that we lead, as well as our intellectual growth would also be उसकी भी स्पीड बढ़ जाएगी अगर हम एआई को ठीक से अडॉप्ट करें। हमारे पास सिर्फ 30 सेकंड है, तो मानते हुए you want to conclude?
Yes, I'll just conclude by saying that AI is an excellent tool. I would highly request people to learn different applications of AI. And if you want to stay employed for next 10, 15, 20 years, you really have to have the skill sets. The problem is it is moving at a very fast pace. People are not able to catch up to it. Students really need to start learning at early phase. People who are employed or college students, they have to learn. And any profession you are in, I would highly encourage you to be ahead of the curve and learn this skill set.
मैं एक और एग्जांपल से इस बात को कंक्लूड करना चाहता हूँ। हम किसी से बात करते हैं तो हमको समझना होता है कि उसका स्वभाव कैसा है। भाषा की बात भी अपनी जगह आती है, बट हर एक आदमी की पर्सनैलिटी अलग है। कुछ लोगों के साथ आप जोवियल वे में बात कर सकते हो, कुछ के साथ आपको बहुत सिंसियर ही रहना पड़ता है। तो एक प्रॉम्प्ट इंजीनियरिंग जो है दैट इज इमर्ज एज अ लैंग्वेज, जिससे कि आप एआई से रिलेट कर सकते हो। पहले मुझे लगा था तो कॉमन सेंस की बात है, बट देन देयर इज अ स्ट्रक्चर दैट यू नीड टू फॉलो, एंड तो हमें थोड़ा सा सिंसियर होना पड़ेगा, और ऐसी बातें जो हमें लगता है कि हमें आती हैं उनको भी थोड़ा सा शेप करने की जरूरत है। बट आई होप यू वुड एग्री with me that whatever be the advantage of artificial intelligence, but human intelligence is definitely superior to it as well as, क्योंकि हम जिंदा हैं, अपनी जिंदगी है, हमें जीना है, तो अपने ओरिजिनल सेल्फ के साथ कनेक्ट रह के हम आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। So on that note, with your permission,
Thank you.
but we'll have more sessions around AI, as this is an emerging field, and it would have more and more things to learn about.
Exactly. Like you rightly said, emerging field, because machine learning component is improving it with each interaction.
Absolutely. So on that note, thanks to Dr. Dheeraj for such stimulating conversation, and thanks to all of you with lots of good wishes for being with us. Namaste. Bye.
Thanks.